Tintin XL 92.5 FM.
All right, today's new drug is a day closer to that big old dance coming up on Thursday. Got some play-in games. Oh, there's more tournaments now. Have you seen all the tournaments? There's the NIT. There's the CBI. JU's in that. They play Monday at noon. Have you seen the thing called the Crown something?
I have not.
It's in Vegas.
No.
It's like an NCAA. It's like a tournament.
Oh, wow. How many teams are in that one? There's like 357 D1 teams.
Right.
So we know 68 are in the big tournament.
Right, 32 in the NIT.
32 in the NIT.
That's
and then
100.
Yeah.
Give or take.
I guess that makes sense.
Yes.
So like 33% of Division I teams go to some sort of postseason.
Yeah, so the CBI, and then there's something called the Crown Affair.
16. The Crown Affair.
The Crown Affair? How many?
The Crown Affair?
The Thomas Crown?
Boy, that sounds like a Pierce Brosnan movie, not a basketball tournament.
I'm forever going to call it the Crown Affair, but it's the Crown something. What is it called, JJ? The Crown
it's
something.
It's called College Basketball Crown.
Okay, it's going to be called the Crown Affair on this
if you
program.
win that event, you definitely deserve to wear the crown of college basketball.
But I mean, I think isn't ESPN televising part of it? And everything,
Fox Sports. Fox and
Fox.
FS1.
Is this something like the Saudis are behind?
I'm sure.
Is High Point getting $75 million to play?
And are Buck and Aikman on the call?
It's actually like big schools.
Yeah,
it's
it
like
is.
Nebraska, UCF, Cincinnati, Colorado,
It's all in Vegas. They're all in
USC,
Vegas.
Georgetown, Villanova.
I mean, it's big name schools.
Are we switching Loser Monday to the Crown?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Crown, absolutely.
I like Tulane.
Oh goodness! So there's all.
Oh my God, I have laughed so hard today.
What
a day!
There's all kinds of
what a great day
stuff going on out there. No question about that. All right. So we will talk all about the tournament coming up in just a bit. We'll talk a little college football. I got a question for you about college football. Mike Norvell, by the way, will not make the Seminoles available. Have you seen that?
I have seen that.
So what do you think? Everyone's doing something different, I guess.
I think it's this. I think he understands that his job is now very much in doubt. You can't go 2-10 at Florida State and expect to have any job security moving forward. It doesn't matter what you did before that season, in my opinion, and I think that that would be the opinion in Tallahassee. So. I'm sure he's looking at it like I can't take any chances. I mean, he at least admitted, he was like, I'm not saying that us having spring practices open to the media last year is why we went 2-10, but but I think they don't want it even an iota of what they're doing out there. Now again, most spring practices are only open for I don't know that Billy Napier is really giving away a lot of formational stuff in the 10, 15 minutes that the reporters get to watch.
Are they going to do this? When they jab the ear? When they jab the ear?
Yeah. It's more of just who's participating and how do they look just in basic, drills. There's no real team that the reporters get to see. So anyway, I mean, he feels like a desperate coach, that doesn't want to do anything to jeopardize this season. And look, I think he's over the top with it because the guys that he has to worry about, the Alabama defensive staff, the Alabama offensive staff. I mean, I think they're going to have a pretty good idea of what Gus Malzahn likes to do on offense. I think they're going to have a pretty good idea of what Thomas Castellanos offers as a quarterback. And, and I think they'll have a pretty good idea of what the new defensive coordinator likes to do. So I don't think he's fooling any of the people that matter. The professionals that get paid millions of dollars to coach their schools.
Right.
And so it's a mistake because obviously it hurts the interest in your program. You'd like fans to get excited, particularly when they've had so little to cheer about for the last, year. So, it's a mistake, but I don't think it's one that it's not a drastic mistake. I think it just shows the desperation in his camp.
Yeah. And it underscores he might be on the hottest seat of them all. Now, look, I know the buyout is still significant, but it's significantly less than it was a year ago. And they're just not going to tolerate. I mean, if he goes 5-7 after going 2-10, I just don't think they're going to tolerate. I can't imagine that he could keep his job, to your point, with fewer than 7 or 8 wins. I can't imagine that. As glorious as a season as they had a few years ago, and a pretty damn good season the year before that. I can't. In this day and age, remember now. We just talked about this with with Kareem Richardson, an assistant basketball coach. NC State went to the Final Four last year and got fired after this year. I mean, digest that one for a second. You know, I mean, they went to the Final Four and were fired a year later. That's really the world we're in. I mean, pro coaches, we see it all the time. We even said of Doug Peterson, 2 winning seasons, 1 losing season. Now he had a bad end of the previous season, but that's where we are.
Look at Ryan Day. I mean, Ryan Day was a topic of, is he going to get fired if Tennessee beats them in the playoff?
Exactly
and
right.
He went on to win the national title. So, I mean, you can be very successful and still
that's the world we're in.
have to silence the critics. Now, it really only depends on the university president and the athletic director, and they tend to be more level-headed. But yeah, I would think it's a big year for Mike Norvell. I would, I think they'll be fine. I'd be surprised if they don't, at least win 7 or 8 games. And my guess is he'll continue as coach. But I think the panic is very real with Mike Norvell and understanding exactly where he is and what is expected.
And the hunch he's playing is there's so much newness. I mean, there are so many new guys now that my best play here is to show nobody anything, right? Just to show nobody anything and at least have a little element of surprise when they see us come out there. Because it's clear with no spring game at all, no media attention at the practices. I will say this, when Larry Fedora got to North Carolina, I've told you a story before. I said, he said, no, we're going to close the practices. I said, why would you do that? I said, fans, because back then fans went to practices. He said, listen, I got 1 year where the ACC coaches don't know what we're going to do. They could go back and watch all the Oklahoma State tape or the Southern Miss tape, but they don't really know what I'm going to do at this level until they've seen it. He said, you get 1 crack at that. After that, well, FSU, he's thinking now, because it's really a new team, that you got 1 crack at it. So
and you do play Alabama in the opener.
Yes.
So, I mean, if Alabama –
great point.
If that – I mean – if they lose to Alabama, certainly there'll be disappointment because now you're 2-11 in your last year and change. But if it's really bad, I mean, if it's what Miami did to Florida last year, then you wonder, like, will Florida State be able to recover from that?
Yeah.
It's still amazing that Florida was able to salvage Napier's job, but that was the outlier. That doesn't normally happen. I mean, Napier, I would say, had about a 5% chance of saving his job and somehow did. But if Alabama beats them convincingly, which is where obviously I think most people will believe it's headed, then it's going to be hard to keep. It could be hard to keep the team together, and so your best chance to keep that game close and pull the upset is for Alabama to have as little information to go on as possible. I just think Kalen DeBoer and his staff are so good that I can't imagine they're not going to have a very good idea of what Thomas Castellanos likes to do as quarterback and what they have to do to limit that and make him play, left-handed, so to speak, and what Gus Malzahn's scheme is going to look like and what Florida State's going to want to do defensively. But, it's why not? If surprise is one of the few assets that you have, why not employ it?
Right. And the truth is they're not even though the game's in Tallahassee, they're not going to beat Alabama.
I wouldn't think.
So, but after that, then it's East Texas A&M. That's not A&M. That's East Texas A&M. You never want to get one of those directional A&M.
East Texas A&M, isn't that where Scott Bakula and Kathy Ireland played?
It is. East Texas A&M, Kent State. You go to Virginia. You got to get off to a hot start because you get Miami early this year. So Miami's like early. So, but the point being, if they're decent, the schedule, because it's the ACC, allows. The schedule allows. So we'll see what winds up happening. So we'll talk about that. I want to talk about the Gators.
And look, credit them for playing Alabama and, Florida out of conference. Yeah. That's a tough non-conference slate.
It really is. You already have Florida. You're at Florida. No, that's not right. You're home against Florida.
No, they're at Florida.
That's right. That game was in Tallahassee last year.
Yeah, because Florida went to plant the flag, and
that's right.
Mike Norvell got upset.
The flag planting. That's right. So they're at Florida. They're at Clemson. Home against Miami, and they play. So it's a tough schedule. So we'll certainly talk some college football coming up in the bit as well. Where's the final? Is this the best month? Is the
boy? It's good.
Is March Madness is good? Because I will tell you this, March Madness is really good. If you had to rank them, I probably would rank NFL playoffs / Super Bowl I. Honestly, I think I might. I've always said I'd rank March Madness 2. Now that there's a college football playoff, I got to figure that might playoff / championship game. I'm close on that one now. I like college football more than I like college basketball. But I don't know that I'm ever going to like the tournament more than I like the basketball tournament.
Right. And it's really magnified this year with the success Florida has had.
Yeah, for us.
Yeah. I mean, it's, I'm having about as much fun as a sports fan over these last 2-3 weeks, since we got into this month. Is any month in a long, long time. So, and the Players' Championship is fantastic. And obviously, you start to get excited for the Masters next month. So, I mean, in terms of, I think particularly when you've got a team that's a 1 seed that a lot of people believe, is on their way to the national title and just had all the success Florida has had, then I think it's really amplified. Like this time last year, I don't know that I had the same. Florida was in it and they were a 7 seed, but I don't know that I had near the excitement for this month that I've had in 2025.
Yeah, even if Florida loses in their second game, I said this on the podcast with Hicken today, even if they lose early on, the joyride that this team's taken us on from the end of November to now, when there's been a real dearth of good stuff for the Gators of late, it's been magnificent. I mean, they could lose. Again, we'll be disappointed because you're measuring on what you do in the postseason.
Right.
But they could lose earlier than expected, and for a few days it's going to really sting. But I think the joy of what this season has been for Gator fans, in addition to the foundation that appears to have been laid. Now, foundations are different now because every team's change all the time, but they're still foundations. I would say it would be hard to mess this one up. I think now, again, they're going to beat Norfolk. They're going to beat Norfolk State. Okay, we know that. So, but beginning the next game on, they could lose any of them. They could lose to Oklahoma or UConn.
Right. It would not be the biggest upset that we've ever seen in this tournament.
That's
by
right.
a mile.
Yeah.
But I think that's why I think Sunday was so important for Florida to beat Tennessee, because now they have something tangible. Like, this team will always be in the record book because only 5 have won the SEC tournament title. So even if they don't win the regional, they don't get to San Antonio, or certainly if they don't win the national title, like, at least by winning the SEC tournament, they are immortalized forever in every signage that Florida will ever put out.
Right.
That 2025 SEC tournament title team will be on there. And I think that especially alleviates, I think, anything that could make this season go from an A+ to anything below an A. I mean, it's just been a remarkable run. And to your point, what it has shown you is that, I mean, what about Todd Golden as he evaluates high school and portal now that he's going to be a superstar in the coaching industry? I mean, he's now proven that he can win at elite level. He doesn't have to say, hey, come here and I think we can do this, or, our hope is to do this. He can sell, come here and you're going to compete for a national title next year.
Yeah, so you're exactly right. So we'll take a break. When we come back, I'm going to start with some Jaguar football. I got a question or two for you about the Jaguars, even though this is a little bit of a slow time as we get ready for the draft. Then we're going to talk about the Gators' strengths, weaknesses as they go through the tournament. We'll certainly get to that coming up on the program today as well. I want to get into the air. What's Aaron Rodgers going to do?
It was interesting that Hayward in Pittsburgh was like, dude, what are you waiting on?
Yeah,
like, if you want to be a Steeler, be a Steeler.
Yeah.
But if not, then go away.
Yeah, and I think that was really, and I will, which teams will say you coming or not? Which teams, and that's part of the conversation, which teams have the
cachet? The
cachet is the perfect word to say, are you coming or not? We're gonna have a franchise whether you're here or not. And so I'm because it looks like now Vikings, Steelers, Giants, is it down to 3?
I think.
It feels like it's down to 3.
That's what it feels like, is that those are the 3 that don't know who their week 1 starting quarterback is right now. And again, I think Pittsburgh's a good place for him. Yeah. Minnesota, I agree with you. I think Minnesota is the best place.
Right. Minnesota is closer to being a Super Bowl team than anywhere else he could go. Pittsburgh, they were a playoff team last year with him and DK Metcalf. Yeah, they'd be scary.
Yeah.
They'd be scary. The Giants, I can't even see why he.
I don't know why
that.
I would retire before I'd play if I was Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, so we'll see what winds. So we'll talk about that later on. But let's take a break. Let's talk some Jaguar football. I got a question for Hays about the Jags. That's how we'll kick off the program. Glad you're with us on this edition of the program. This is 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. But when it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
It's coming, it's coming, it's coming, it's finally here. Are you ready for it? Yeah, we ready for it. Are you ready for it? Yeah, we ready for it. Then get ready for it.
1010XL.
Hi, folks. I'm Frank Frangie. If you have a sweet tooth like me, the sweetest desserts in town come from Spoonful Bakery. Spoonful is an online bakery. They deliver boxes of assorted desserts right to your home or office. They're so good, and they make for great gifts for friends or clients. And if you want custom orders, wedding cakes or birthday cakes, or catered desserts for an event, they are the best. Log on to spoonful-bakery.com or call them at 904-515-4984. That's Spoonful Bakery for the sweetest desserts in town.
Golfers, grab your clubs. It's time to hit the greens for a great cause. Join UF Health Jacksonville for their inaugural Golf Classic on Friday, April 25th at the beautiful Amelia River Club with a shotgun start at 9 a.m. Enjoy a premier golf experience while supporting UF Health Jacksonville. Bring your friends, build your foursome, and get ready for a day of fun, competition, and giving back. Don't wait. Sign up today at ufhealthjacks.org/golf. See you on the course.
Home is where your story begins. And at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, we're here to make it the healthiest, most comfortable place it could be. Whether it's fresh, clean air, dependable plumbing, or reliable power, we take care of it all. From routine maintenance to state-of-the-art solutions, Donovan keeps your home running smoothly. Because at Donovan, we believe your home isn't just where you live, it's where your health meets comfort. Call Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing at 904-270-COOL or visit us online. Let's make your home healthier, safer, and better together.
Hey, I'm Tony from Tony D's Pizza. People ask me all day long, is it the water that makes the difference? Well, yes and no. Even water can't make a good pizza. It's the ingredients, too. The best tomatoes, the best flour, and the best cheese. Oh, and a lot of love. Tony D's New York Pizza, Bay Meadows and 295.
Greenlaw Group is for the insured. If you think you have roof damage, call 904-302-7055 today, and they will schedule you a free roof inspection. Trust their law firm to help you fight your insurance when you need it. These storms can cause damage you may not even see yet. Call Greenlaw Group, 302-7055. There's no cost to retain their law firm and no cost to have your roof inspected. They only get paid if you win. Greenlaw Group, for the insured.
It's the Mr. Chubby's Bracket Challenge going on now at 1010XL.com. Print your bracket and bring it to any Mr. Chubby's Wings during Live Madness game. Get a free Miller Lite for each game you pick right. Top prize Saturday passes to Welcome to Rockville.
Poker players, the Run Good Poker Series is taking over Best Bet Jacksonville from April 24th to May 4th. Brace yourself for 10 action-packed poker events, including the $1,200 main event with an incredible $300,000 guaranteed prize pool. Event number 1 kicks things off with a $400 no-limit hold'em tournament featuring a $200,000 guarantee. Want your shot? Win your way in through satellites. Your seat is waiting for you in the Run Good Poker Series at Best Bet Jacksonville. Visit bestbetjacks.com for tournament structures and details. That's bestbetjacks.com.
It's Blue, and I couldn't see everyone else here at the station lose weight while I'm on the sidelines wishing mine away. I jumped on Awaken 182, and I mean weight loss every week, eating to lose weight, and then receive full support for life. What's not to like? Now, I didn't drop the double digits like Hacker did in week 1, but I'm down 4 pounds. I'll take that any day. The best part, Awaken 180 was actually easier than I expected. I'm not sure what I thought beforehand, but after just day 1, I was already in a groove. Wasn't hungry, more energy, and my Coach Patrick is awesome. Gave me a couple of tips since I do sleep in and, of course, stay up late. And I'm off. I'm cruising through week 2 and loving it. You've heard all about Choose Awaken 180, all of us having success with Awaken 180. What do you have to lose? Only weight. Everything else to gain with the solution for weight loss. Reserve your March consultation today at awaken180weightloss.com or call 844-346-1800.
For the greenest, luscious lawn on the block, choose the local legends, Roundtree Sod. Don't just settle for ordinary. Let Roundtree Sod deliver you a picture-perfect lawn. To get a free estimate, call 7414-SOD. 7414-SOD.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. By now, everyone has heard about saving money on their energy bills. There are all sorts of things you can do to cut energy costs, but most people don't think about their windows.
But Window World knows that the biggest energy loss in almost every home is the windows. There is more energy loss from old builder-grade windows than just about anything else in your home.
You can upgrade your heating and air, your appliances. That's good too. But before you do all that, upgrade your windows to Window World's energy-efficient windows.
Window World's windows are easy to clean, energy efficient, and have the best guarantee in the business.
Window World's slogan is simply the best for less, and we mean it. You get great American-made windows, and you get to keep more of your money when you buy from Window World. Need any more reasons to buy your windows from Window World? Call them today and set up your free in-home estimate, or go online to windowworldneflorida.com. Window World, simply the best for less. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Nimnick Tuesday on The Frangie Show. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941.
They've been doing it since 1941. I've been buying my cars there since 1982. My first car I ever bought by myself was from my friend Billy Nimnick Jr., God rest his soul. I now buy my cars from his son, Billy Nimnick III, and his brother, Lee, who I saw the other day at the Players. What a wonderful family. What a wonderful way to buy cars. If you want to buy a car in this market, I think if you hear me talking, you know I'm going to send you to the best car dealerships in town. Nimnick Chevrolet is on Cassett, Nimnick Buick GMC, located on Phillips Highway. Very proud to be a spokesman for the Nimnick family of dealerships for a long, long time. Frangie Carlyon, JJ LaSelva with you. All right. It's draft season. We're getting to draft season. We know the names. Is it Mason Graham? Is it Ted McMillan? Is it whoever? Is it whatever? We Will Johnson. We've gone through all the names. I don't think it's Will Campbell. Let's assume. Let's play assumption for a second, Hays. Let's assume Mason Graham's there and they take him.
Okay.
They take Mason Graham. They got 9 picks left. And let's assume when they get to 30, is 36 the next pick? They get a receiver. I don't know who that would be at 36.
Trey Harris. Ole Miss.
Okay, they get Trey Harris at 36. At that moment, before we go 8 more picks, how good's their football team?
Good enough to win the AFC South,
okay.
But I
500 record I think would the floor. What would the floor be?
Well, the floor is 2-15 because we have no idea if these guys are going to know what they're doing.
Okay, yeah, I said it wrong, but you're right. Good point. But what's the? But in that case, the ceiling could be 13, 14. But what? What's a reasonable expectation of that? Forget numbers, forget record. What's the reasonable expectation of that roster? Pretty damn good roster.
No.
Better roster.
I think above
roster?
average roster is what I would say, but above average roster in a bad division.
Right, that's right.
Can have a splendid season.
Yeah. The reality is I still say Jacksonville has quarterback figured out. Now Trevor's got to figure out some things to be everything he can be. But the Jaguars are one of the 2 teams that feel like they have their quarterback figured out. They're the only team in the division that's paid their quarterback $245 million over the next however many years. Okay, so that part's figured out. The Jaguars have a really good receiver, and they may be adding another one if this holds out. What I'm trying to gauge here, we went into the offseason last year with gigantic expectations. One of the things that worked against Doug Peterson, Trent Baalke, all of them, is for whatever reason, it really felt like last year was the bounce back year. Okay, they had a bad They had a bad final 6 games the year before. They were 8-12 in Doug Peterson's first 30 games. And then it went bad. The next 6 went badly. But they had a great training camp, it felt like. The draft felt good. They won all 3 preseason games. Not only won all 3, but sort of won the ones-on-ones, too. Not just the end of the game. They seemed to win the ones-on-ones in all the preseason games. Everybody felt healthy. They went into that. They got on that plane and headed to Miami with all of us expecting double-digit wins in a division title. Is that a fair comment?
And looked the part for the first 40 minutes of that game.
And even looked the part early in that game. So by all accounts, the expectations were very high. I guess what I'm trying to get my head around, and not just locally, nationally too. They were just about everybody's pick to win the division. I shouldn't say that because the Texans won it the year before, but they were certainly the pick of some to bounce back. Where will the in your opinion, where will the expectations be for the Jaguars? And I know we don't even know who the draftees are yet. I know that, and we haven't even seen the first OTA. But
I don't think that's going to radically change.
I don't either.
Yeah.
That's why I'm asking you the question.
Yeah.
Where will the expectations be when we get into the middle and late part of August? What do you think?
Locally or nationally?
Give me both.
I think locally the expectation will be to really push Houston for the division title, if not win it. But I think it's hard to expect a first-year head coach to, hey, go win the division title over a team that's won it the last 2 years. But I would say push Houston, into week 18, where that's a significant game, I think would be a reasonable expectation locally. Nationally, I don't think you're going to have any expectations. I think nationally they're going to be viewed as a struggling team.
You do.
Yeah, I mean,
because first-year coach.
Yeah, Trevor hasn't done really anything yet to, capture their attention. So I think it starts with, yes, they've locked Trevor Lawrence up with a contract extension, but I don't think nationally, people are viewing the Jaguars as, well, they're a tough out because Trevor Lawrence is their quarterback. Defensively, they were a debacle, and Liam Cohen's never been a head coach before, so I think you have to worry about how will he handle that. So I think nationally, my guess is some people will pick them second, because we don't know really what the Colts are going to do, and the Titans look terrible. But I wouldn't be surprised if you see a lot of projections where maybe the Colts are ahead of them. I don't know that you'll see any where the Titans are ahead of them, but maybe. But I think the national vibe will be that they're not a contender
nationally. And by the way, I agree with that. The national vibe will be, listen, you're Jacksonville. You've never won much of anything. Once every 10 years, a good season comes along. But for the most part, you've never proven that you're ever going to be among the elite. Whether we like that or not, that'll be the national perception. And by the way, that's fair. That's a fair perception. Whether I hate it, but it's a fair perception. If you're NFL national guy, let's go through the division. You think C.J. Stroud's pretty damn good. Not as good as sophomore year as he was his freshman year, to use college terms. Not as good as second year as he was as a rookie. But it seems to all be there. Okay, they've changed offensive coordinators. You think C.J. Stroud's probably going to be one of the good quarterbacks. You think Levis may be a bust unless he shocks people. You think,
and it may not even be his job.
Yeah,
it may be Cam Ward.
That's correct. But Levis, you're not sold on Levis if he's their quarterback. And you're damn sure not sold on Anthony Richardson. If I'm national, if I'm Tom Pelissero or whoever, if you ask me drinking a beer off record, what I'm going to tell you is C.J. Stroud probably has a bounce back year. Levis and AR are no good. That's what you're going to say off the record. Mm-hmm. What is he going to say about Trevor Lawrence?
That there's something still there, but it's got to be realized. And, that's why Liam Cohen is here. That's his primary objective is to get Trevor Lawrence playing at a much higher level consistently than what we've seen. And again, there's been good, obviously, with Trevor. It just hasn't been as consistent as you would like. And, and again, some of that is that will be revealed. How much of that was Trevor maybe not getting as good a coaching is maybe he'll now get with Liam Cohen, or will it be much of the same mistakes? So it doesn't really matter who his coach is. He just makes kind of the similar mistakes, doesn't have a good feel for it, not a very cerebral player. All the stuff that is come to light so far in his career in terms of poor football instincts. So, I would think it's cautious optimism nationally with Trevor Lawrence, which is what I kind of think it is here. I mean, obviously, we see the skill that Trevor has, and you couldn't ask for a better worker, ambassador, face of the franchise, all that stuff. But he's got to be much better in situational football. And Liam Cohen said it at his introductory press conference and has reemphasized it. We want to be situational masters. Well, he's got to start with his franchise quarterback.
Right.
Because Trevor Lawrence is far from a situational master when it comes to playing quarterback at the NFL level compared to the elite players that play that position at the NFL level.
I wonder if, because sometimes you're measured, not if you're Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady, but for the most part, you're often measured as a quarterback by who's around you. Again, Mahomes and Brady broke that mold, or they're above that. But most quarterbacks, as good as Joe Burrow is, the fact that he's now going to have Chase and Higgins for a long time is part of how you measure Joe Burrow. It just is. So I wonder, let's say Tettery McMillan, am I saying his name right?
Tetero
McMillan. Let's say this 4.5-ish holds, and now the belief is that he does run 4.5. He's not going to run 4.8, which means instead of being a 10 through 20 guy, he's a 1 through 10 guy for some reason. Let's just say that, and they take him. Now again, you'll know. Rarely do you see a guy that the Kuipers and all the folks say is going to be Daniel Jeremiah. They all say he's going to drop to 25 and he goes 7. It doesn't happen much anymore. But if he gets mocked in that top 15 area, top 10 area, and let's say the Jags take him, I get a hunch if you look up and all of a sudden Trevor Lawrence is thrown to Brian Thomas Jr. and McMillan, and maybe there's something with De'Ami Brown and with returning running backs and an improved line. I think the perception will be that they'll be good on offense. And Liam Cohen, who unlocked something in Baker Mayfield that for whatever reason had not been unlocked before. I think the perception will be I think that one draft pick will make people expect them to be good on offense.
I wouldn't argue that. I mean, if they take T-Mac, obviously he's got some sensational film, and he was a great college player. And so, obviously it's an offensive league. It's geared towards the passing game. The rules are all pretty much set up for teams to be able to throw the ball all over the field. And, I think there'd be more national buzz if they did that than if they took Mason Graham, because linemen just don't tend to generate a lot of buzz unless they're like sack artists, like the year Clowney came out.
But that's right.
He was viewed as a generational defensive player. Didn't turn out that way. But, yeah, if they take Mason Graham, it'll be viewed as, okay, they had a horrible defense, and Mason Graham will help them in their rebuild of that defense. Whereas if you take McMillan, okay, now it's easier for people to visualize the Jaguars winning 38-34 kind of games. Whereas if you take Mason Graham, it's like, well, you probably are still going to have a bad defense. You just had a horrible one. Adding this one kid out of Michigan is probably not going to all of a sudden make you a top 10 unit.
Right.
And so, I would agree with that. But, from a perception standpoint, but I would still say the best thing for them at this point would be thinking more about trenches than the sizzle on the outside.
I feel that too. Final thing too to this is maybe, just maybe, it isn't the worst thing to go into a season without great expectations. It hurts you at the ticket office, but it might not be the worst thing in terms of a young team with a really young coach and a really young GM and an opportunity to build. We'll talk more about that, obviously, as we get closer and closer to the draft. When we come back, I'm going to keep it on football. I got a college football question or two for you that comes up next. Stay with us.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
You know Dan Hicken.
He's a cartoon character. Come on.
And you know Jeff Prosser.
He's reckless. He's insubordinate. Which is why we can afford him.
They are The Drill.
I got 3 words for you.
Mornings on 1010XL.
You two pixies, knock it off.
This is Hays Carlyon for Physician Guided Weight Loss. I'm down over 25 pounds already thanks to Physician Guided Weight Loss, and it is so easy. I feel great, and it's all thanks to them. Their amazing technology, fast setup, friendly staff, and proven results sold me, and they can help you too. It's affordable with firm pricing, no rising costs as you go. If you're like me and looking to get a leaner body with the warm weather coming, call my friends at Physician Guided Weight Loss at 257-4344. That's 257-4344.
To get this thing unwrapped here.
Prize, what in the world are you doing working on your Duval?
That's right, Dan. I really identify with Duval.
You live in St. John's County, knucklehead.
I mean the Duval sub, the Daily Stash Duval. Turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheeses. Lettuce, tomato, crispy and fresh, you know, like me. I'm sure there's a Daily Stash sub that sums you up.
The boss.
Because, of course.
Oven roasted beef, Munster cheese, roasted mushrooms, caramelized onions. It's the boss of all subs. Only available for me.
That's just not true.
What do you mean? I walked in the other day, screamed, "You know it," and said, "A boss for a boss."
Well, no matter who you are, there is a Daily Stash sandwich or sub for you.
Go find yours. They may even make you a boss.
I'm sure they will, because it is Daily Stash.
Where more is better.
And you got that right.
This is Hays Carlyon for my friend Holt at Harold & Harold. There doesn't seem to be enough time in the day to get everything done. Then you get injured in an accident and you don't know what you're going to do. Let Harold & Harold make it easy for you. Easy on becoming a client. You can just text or email if you want. Easy on finding a doctor and getting through the process. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, call Harold & Harold and make it easy on yourself. Call them at 904-251-1111. That's 251-1111.
Struggling with ED? Now Riddle Wellness has a solution that works. You've heard of PRP treatments for joint pain relief. That same technology is now available with the P-Shot, a non-surgical treatment for ED. Using your body's natural power, the P-Shot helps restore function naturally. No pills, no downtime, just results. Schedule a free consultation at elevatejacksonville.com and learn what the P-Shot can do for you. Riddle Wellness, your health, your confidence totally restored. Visit elevatejacksonville.com.
Welcome to ABS Advanced Business Solutions, your local authorized technology partner and home to Xerox copiers.
Advanced Business Solutions.
Tired of weekend projects turning into weekend disasters? You're not alone. Building a fence isn't as easy as it looks. Let's face it, your neighbor Steve still hasn't fixed his lopsided masterpiece. But Superior Fence and Rail makes it easy. Highly trained professionals, top quality materials, and a fence you'll love for years to come. Skip the stress and call the pros today.
SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
It's the Gator Podcast Channel with Frank Frangie and me, Dan Hicken, on all things Gators. Hacker and Denny Thompson have Gator Bites, and you can find them wherever you find podcasts or at 1010XL.com. Presented by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
When it comes to towing products, your safety is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjacks.com, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, Director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year, and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost for the books and the course fees, about $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org, and you can apply there.
Apply by May 15th.
The 2025 NFL season is right around the corner, and the Jags are building something special. A fresh team, a new culture, and a stadium that's going to change the game. Be there to witness head coach Liam Cohen and the rest of the coaching crew in action by securing your season tickets today. Become a member to get access to exclusive experiences, VIP events, and more. Visit Jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We can't wait to see you at the bank this fall.
The First Tee Tour card is back for 2025 and better than ever, with access to over 15 of North Florida's best courses and new this year, local participating businesses. This card is your ticket to saving hundreds. First Tee North Florida is a local nonprofit who build character in youth participants through the game of golf. This annual fundraiser enables this amazing organization the ability to build game changers. Grab your tour card for just $99 at tourcard.org for a list of participating partners, benefits, and restrictions.
Plumbing problem? AC acting up? Septic tank trouble? Don't waste time calling 3 different companies. Just call Duck Rooter. We offer plumbing, septic, and air conditioning services, making it easy for you to work with one trusted company and one simple build. Every department has highly skilled experts trained for the job. For fast, reliable service from a company that does it all the right way, call 904-862-6769 or visit duckduckrooter.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Nimnik Tuesday on The Frangie Show. Nimnik, your friends in the car business since 1941.
We thank our friends from Nimnik. Nimnik Chevrolet is on Cassett. Nimnik Buick GMC is on Phillips Highway. You'll never go to Nimnik without dealing with really nice salespeople, people that are not going to harass you. They're going to treat you right. They're going to help you. The dealerships are beautiful and clean. The cafes there with the warm food is fantastic. It's really a great shopping experience, and you don't do it as long as Nimnik's been doing it if you haven't gotten it right. So head to Nimnik Chevrolet on Cassett or Nimnik Buick GMC on Phillips Highway. Frank Frangie, Hays Carlyon, JJ LaSelva. We will reveal our brackets tomorrow, by the way. All 3 of our brackets, and so and that'll be our Loser Monday contest.
Big day tomorrow.
We reveal the brackets. I'll ask you guys to both bring the brackets at the beginning of the show.
Yep.
Okay, and we will go through the brackets. So we will do that on tomorrow's radio program.
Have you guys filled your bracket out yet?
I have not.
I have. I just
you
did.
have. Okay.
About
How do you
30
feel
minutes
about
ago.
it?
Oh, as strong as this is.
Do you guys do 38 brackets and 74
I only
brackets?
do one.
Okay, I only do one too. I do one bracket. How about you, JJ?
Yeah, I haven't done one in a while.
I'm a one bracket guy.
And same. Yeah. I'll bet the games individually to make it more fun as it goes if I'm watching it. But just one bracket for me.
So I can tell you, I'm picking the Gators of the University of Florida to win it all. I'm guessing you are too.
I am too.
JJ, can you reveal who you're picking yet?
I have the Gators going to the final, but I don't have them winning.
Okay, if you were betting your money on whoever would win the title, would you pick Florida? If you were betting your money?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I would. I obviously, I'm a fan of the team.
Yeah.
But I objectively, it's not hard for me to shift back to objectively looking at it. What do I think? What can they really do? I think they can win the whole thing.
Yeah.
Well,
there's no question.
I I think the draw is pretty favorable considering. So, you look at it, can they beat, let's just say it's worst case scenario in terms of the seeds. Can they beat Maryland in the Sweet 16? Absolutely. Can they beat St. John's in the Elite 8? Absolutely. Can they beat Auburn in the national semifinal? Absolutely.
Proven that.
Can they beat Duke or Houston, or Tennessee or Alabama in the national title? Yes, I think they can. Duke's the one that that's in Houston. Houston is so they're better offensively than they normally are, but they're just a defensive-minded team. I don't think that's the kind of team that could beat Florida. I think Duke could because they're amazing on both ends of the court, but that's where you get into, but how much of that is the fact that they played in a really bad league this year for ACC standards. So yeah, I will pick Florida to win the national title because I believe that the things that normally derail you in this tournament, Florida appears to be immune from. Foul trouble, having a bad night on both ends of the floor. They're great off. If Florida did have a tough night shooting, they can win a defensive game. We've talked about it. They can obviously win a shootout. So style doesn't really bother them. At least there's no evidence that style bothers them. So I think they're going to win the whole thing.
All right, so we're going to, in 5 o'clock hour, we're going to get into all the details of it. I'd have to decide, and I'll talk more about this in the 5 o'clock hour, how much would I worry about the fact that the coach and the players, other than Elijah Martin, have never done it before? That's the only thing I'd have to worry about. That they haven't done it before, so we'll certainly get to that. But I've been the 5 o'clock hour. We'll get to that.
We will, and I brought that up yesterday, and I think it's a very fair point. But I will say this, and the tournament is a different microscope. I haven't seen any indication that Todd Golden ever sits on leads,
right?
Which is normally what the inexperience factor is. Normally, what does you in is you start to sit on a lead, hold the ball. They've been very impressive about. They get up an opponent in the corner and they keep throwing haymakers.
Yeah, and in that league they needed to, or they would have had some teams come back on them. College football for a second. SEC football. Who's got the best team in the SEC this fall? Who's got the best roster in the SEC as we go into the fall?
I would say Georgia. I mean, just based on the fact that he's done such a magnificent job recruiting, and they don't rely on the portal, but they utilize it to get really high level players. So I mean, I do not know the ins and outs of the 16 SEC football rosters, but
nor do I.
If you're asking me today, yeah. I would go with Georgia.
I think Georgia has more good players than other people. I would agree with that. The reason I ask is one thing Florida, Tennessee, and LSU have are pretty dang good returning quarterbacks, which I think really does matter. Now, you can get a portal quarterback, but it doesn't look like a lot of qualified portal quarterbacks popped up in the SEC. Number one, there weren't as many, but it's not like you looked up and Cam Ward is on his way to School X. In fact, one of the most notarized, one of the most notable quarterback transfers left the SEC, and that's Carson Beck. So as I look at this, I think LSU, if Brian Kelly, who is a good coach, can rebuild the culture of the team. They had a great portal year. They always have good players. They're LSU. And I think they might have the best quarterback in the nation in Garrett Nussmeier. I think he's really good. I think I'm having trouble coming up with a lot of players that I think will be much better than him. I think he right today is a better player than DJ Lagway. I don't know that I think he's going to be a better player when he's done than DJ Lagway when he's done. But, I mean, today, I think Garrett Nussmeier is a really, really good player. I think Nico, how do you say his name?
Amaliva?
Yeah, Nico, I'll go with that. Amaliva. Okay, it sounds good to me. Has huge upside, but I don't know that he will settle into a very accurate passer down in and down out. Okay. I know Alabama's got to play a new quarterback. I know that Texas A&M's playing. If they play the running quarterback, he's back. South Carolina returns a very good quarterback, but I don't know their team's great around them. So as you look at that power conference, Texas is playing a new quarterback, a very good one, but he's still a new quarterback. So if you look at overall talent combined with quarterback, at least how I feel about the quarterback going in, it's hard for me not to think LSU, Florida, and Tennessee are at the top of the heap. Now, again, I still think Georgia has more good players than any of those three teams, but I don't know that I think Gunnar Stockton, at least for me, or Ryan Puglisi or Colin Drake are going to win the SEC. Gunnar Stockton is great energy, fired everybody up on the sideline, Georgia guy. I was underwhelmed by him when he came in, which is why even when Carson Beck was, and we now learned, even while Carson Beck was struggling and struggled mightily, that stretch against Florida and some of those teams where he's throwing interceptions left and right, he was never in danger of losing his job. Remember that? Kirby Smart said he's our quarterback. And I thought that's interesting. As much as he was struggling, and I think Carson Beck's a good player, but as much as he was struggling in that stretch, there was never a point in Kirby Smart's mind when he was going to replace him until he got hurt and then had to replace him. I don't know. I think you got to have quarterback play, and don't for a minute think, well, Gunnar Stockton, he's the same thing as Stetson Bennett. Stetson Bennett could throw the hell out of it. People don't realize how strong his arm was.
And
could run. And Gunnar Stockton could run. But Stetson was a gamer and could really throw it. So I guess that's my question. I'm curious what Georgia will be at quarterback.
Well, I think it's a great point that you make, because can you get away with having that game manager at quarterback who makes good decisions but doesn't offer a lot of playmaking. Is that enough to win at the highest level in the SEC? Georgia, and again, I would agree with you. I think Stetson Bennett got drafted by a team that, obviously knows what they're doing in the Rams. And so obviously he was more than just, a good college player. Obviously he had NFL ability or he wouldn't have been drafted. So, but in looking at it, I think you're hitting on something here where there's more playmaking at that position in the SEC this coming year than there probably has been when you look back to 3-4 years ago when Stetson Bennett was leading Georgia to back-to-back national championships. So can they get away with it? I was surprised that Gunnar Stockton was their guy. I figured John Mateer would end up at Georgia and not Oklahoma. The best quarterback, on the market, so to speak, in this portal season. In Georgia, obviously, wasn't interested because it didn't seem like Georgia lost out. It almost seemed like they just handed the keys to Gunnar Stockton. And I'm with you. I didn't see a whole lot of him in actual games to think that he should just be, the chosen successor without really any competition. But that seems to be the path they've taken. And certainly I think it's a gamble that could end up backfiring on Georgia. I mean, remember, Georgia's offense started to slip last year, and certainly Carson Beck played a role in that. But you do wonder if, schematically there was some things that Georgia just wasn't doing at a very high level because, they were having trouble doing things that Georgia normally excels in terms of run blocking, explosive weapons in the passing game. Just wasn't there. They still obviously had an outstanding season, but it does make you wonder if Gunnar Stockton is sort of just a guy in terms of good decisions, but doesn't offer a lot above the X's and O's. Will that be enough to still beat teams that might have some real dynamic talent at the quarterback position? Because it does seem like it's going to be a very talented group of SEC quarterbacks.
247, 24/7 Sports has a list of expected best quarterbacks next year, as the way too early list of top 10 quarterbacks. 5 are from the SEC. Georgia isn't mentioned. Florida isn't mentioned. Tennessee isn't mentioned. Okay, yet 5 are, and I think that's so. The 5. You want to take a shot at who they are?
John Mateer and Nussmeier.
Nussmeier. They think he's the second highest rated quarterback they have in the country. I think he's better than the guy they have first, but they have him as the second highest rated quarterback in the country coming in. And again, I think he's the best quarterback in the country.
Arch Manning.
They have him third.
Yeah.
The third best in the country, which I think is high for a guy that hadn't played, but that's my opinion.
Sure.
So they've got Nussmeier, Manning, third and fourth in their national list. Lenoris Sellers from South Carolina, who's pretty good. He's pretty dangerous. They have him as the 6th best quarterback in the country. They've got Diego Pavia is the 9th best.
That's ridiculous. I'm sorry. It's a great story.
He's a gamer, but I don't know if he's the 9th best quarterback in the country. And they got Jackson Arnold, who's now who went from Oklahoma to Auburn.
That's ridiculous too.
Yeah. I would think that I don't like the. But my point of the story is whether that list is right or not.
Right. Obviously, those guys are talented.
If you keep going on the list, you'd hit DJ. If you go beyond 10, you'd hit DJ Lagway at some point.
I can't believe Mateer's not on that list.
Okay, you'd hit Mateer at some point. You'd hit DJ Lagway at some point. You'd hit Nico at some point. I don't know that you'd get to Gunnar Stockton. And Kirby Smart's such a good recruiter and such a good program builder, he'll get that fixed. But I'm a little surprised between the portal, between recruiting, that they didn't wind up with a guy that can push him. I'm not saying Gunnar Stockton's terrible, but the guy that could push him. So I just wonder if Georgia's off the mark a little bit. And listen, I've told you this. I told Hicken this today on the podcast. I'll say it to you too. I'm concerned about DJ Lagway's arm. Listen. Billy Napier said, you asked me about this on Headlines yesterday. Billy Napier said, well, him not throwing is not unnormal. I think he meant abnormal. But beyond that, it is abnormal. I've covered spring football for 45 years at various schools, and I can't remember a quarterback not throwing in the spring. Baseball pitchers, you can get shut down because your arm moves so much faster, you can injure your shoulder. I've seen quarterbacks have a sore arm and take a day off, a couple days off. But you're never going to, and I don't know what's going on, and I don't pretend to know, but you'll never convince me that there's not something significant going on if your quarterback can't throw it all the entire spring, which is where I think we're headed. You're not going to convince me there's something not the matter. And I don't have any insight on this. I have no sources on this, but you'll never convince me if a quarterback goes 15 days in a spring game and can't throw it all, that there's something significant not the matter. You'll never convince me.
Well, obviously they must think there's something there that they don't want getting worse. And so the concern is, well, we're in March, so you still have April, May, June, July, August. You've got 5 months really to get them ready. So obviously their thinking is, well, let's sit them and give it a couple of months, and then hopefully it will whatever it is will be healed and he'll be fine for fall camp. But it does make you wonder, like, how will they ever fully know that he's beyond it? And so it obviously it's not ideal. It doesn't seem yet that I think it's a massive problem for them. But one thing, as you were talking, I remember something that Shane Matthews has told us a ton, which is what made them so dynamic offensively was they threw it all the time.
Right.
They threw and they threw and they threw to get that chemistry
over. And I went to those practices.
Right. And so obviously he's not getting that. Now I would make the argument that if they think it's something that will just calm down, if they let him just rest it, I don't think him missing spring practice is that big of a deal, particularly if by the time he does get into the summer B and everybody's there, he can go out and throw on his own with his receivers, and then he's got fall camp, and, then I think he'll be ready. But, yeah, if he's still limited, if Billy Napier starts or goes to SEC Media Days before fall practice starts, and the word there that he's giving everybody is, well, we're hopeful he'll be able to throw, but he may have to take it easy the first couple weeks of fall camp, then Florida has a gargantuan problem on its hands.
I found a second top 10 list of quarterbacks. This is a PFF list. This list, like the 24/7 list, both have the same number one guy. You know who it is?
No.
They both have the same number one quarterback in the nation coming back. Cade Klubnik.
What are we doing?
This is what this list says. Here's the PFF, and people respect PFF. Here's their list: Cade Klubnik 1, Sam Levitt from Arizona State 2, Carson Beck 3, Drew Aller from Penn State 4, Nussmeier 5, which I think is really low, Arch Manning 6, DJ Lagway 7th, Diego Pavia 8th, Nico 9. And Kevin Jennings from SMU 10. Here's what looking at those two lists tell me.
We don't know.
We don't know.
Who knows who the best quarterback in the nation is?
But isn't that what tells you after reading
Without
those two?
a doubt.
That's two entirely.
I would have thought it would have been the Penn State kid, but
he was 7th on the one list, or 6th on the one list, and 4th on this list.
Huh, interesting.
Beck was 3rd on both lists.
And Klubnik's a good player, but I don't view him as
the best quarterback in the country.
Yeah, the best quarterback in the country.
Sam Levitt was 9th on one list, 2nd on the other. Lagway 7th on this list, not listed on the other.
And Lagway shouldn't be on any list.
Yeah, I agree.
Lagway, that's and now if you're going to project it, if you're going to say these are who I think the top 10 quarterbacks will be in December.
And that might be what they're doing.
Then maybe that would make some sense.
Yeah.
But if you're basing it on what we've seen so far, it's a pretty small sample size with DJ Lagway to say he's the 7th best quarterback in the nation.
But again, agreed. I think that's way too high too. But back to the point, what does Georgia do when it's not going to have anybody near any of these lists? We'll say, and again, listen, Georgia's earned their stripes. Georgia's won 2 national titles. They're always in the playoffs. It's the best program in America right now. There's no doubting it. So Georgia's done. Kirby's earned his stripes. But the reality is there's a gigantic question.
Well, and coaches make mistakes too.
Right,
but it makes you wonder, maybe he's got an in-house guy that could overtake Gunnar Stockton.
Or is there a May portal guy coming? There is a May portal. We'll see what happens. We'll take a break. Let's get to some college hoops after this.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
If you need an insurance agent, I'll recommend the best guy in town, State Farm agent Craig Dewhurst. Call him at 940-9740. Really good guy, really good agent. life insurance, homeowners, automotive, you name it, he'll handle it for you. Tell him what you need. He'll assess your whole situation. What kind of coverage do you need? How much coverage? What should your deductible be? What do you make, and how does it fit your cost and your rates? You will love dealing with Craig. What a nice guy he is, and how he'll help you get the right answers. The best in the business. Craig Dewhurst from State Farm, 940-9740.
Every game is a story.
And the game is tied.
Every play is a moment waiting to happen.
We're going to overtime.
Your home for the most play-by-play is 1010XL.
One thing that separates Beard's Diamonds from those other jewelry stores at the town center, no one's paid on commission.
Nobody at Beard's is on commission. That's more of your corporate stores that pay commission.
Beard's owner, John Lupo, says that means no pressure, no hidden agenda, no extra markups.
And you're getting a better deal. You're not paying the corporate commission. You're not paying the salesperson's commission. If they're paying their salespeople commission, you're starting off in the hole.
And that's why you feel like a number at most jewelry stores, because it's all about making the sale, but not at Beard's.
Because it's a corporate atmosphere and they want to sell you what they want to sell you. We're here to sell you what you want. Our salespeople can do whatever they want to make sure that the customer is happy.
So relax. At Beard's Diamonds, they have all the things you want, like quality education, selection, warranties, and none of the stuff you don't want, like pressure and tacked on commissions.
Nobody's making an extra 5 or 10% on Beard's customers.
Beard's Diamonds, the town center's only locally owned jeweler.
We sell better merchandise, better product for less money, guaranteed.
Here's Linda Beaver.
It's a new year with new goals, but let's face it, not all resolutions are easy to keep. Maybe you promised yourself you'd eat healthier, but pizza still seems like a better idea. Or you said you'd read more, but your favorite show just launched a new season. At Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet, we can help you keep your New Year's resolution. We offer the biggest selection, best prices, and the easiest car buying experience. Let's make a resolution to visit Beaver Toyota or Beaver Chevrolet, where we'll wow you with a new ride for the new year.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. When pests invade your home or business, you don't just need them out, you need them out fast. And you need to keep them out. At Terminix, they'll show up for you and eliminate pests quicker, just like they did at my house, because they care about what matters most to you. When pests show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with a pest problem, Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com. That's right, Terminix it.
Big shots that change your bracket.
For the win.
Listen all month for top March moments on 1010XL. Driven by Garber Auto Mall. We can wiggle it.
Tired of changing out bad sod year after year? Get it done right with Roundtree Sod. Big or small, they have it, and always supplied farm fresh. For a lush, legendary green lawn, call 7414-SOD for a free estimate. 7414-SOD.
Take your taste buds to One Night Taco Stand for Taco Tuesday. Get $2.99 tacos and $6.99 specialty drinks. The 1010XL restaurant of the day is One Night Taco Stand, Mandarin, Orange Park, and Southside at Bay Meadows.
Transmission troubles? I'm Robin Sidbury, owner of Action Transmission Specialist on Merrill Road. So come in and see how we can help solve your transmission troubles. We service all makes and models. Remember, get traction. Call Action at 744-0755.
When persistent plumbing problems leave you feeling flushed, don't panic. Call Roland Reich. They quote all pricing in advance, so your only surprise is how quickly they'll solve your issue. Roland Reich Plumbing, plumbingjacksonville.com.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Hey folks, Hicken here for Zero Res. You're going to want to beat the spring cleaning rush and call our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. This month, get one room Zero Resified starting at $53. Hey, and take $100 off your air duct cleaning. Don't forget about your air ducts. Your air ducts, sort of like the lungs of your home. If they're dirty, your indoor air quality suffers. Visit ZeroResJacksonville.com. Tell them Dan or 1010XL sent you. Spell it forwards or backwards. Zero Res. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation, light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to CarlsonDentalGroup.com. That's CarlsonDentalGroup.com for all of your dental needs.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey, and I only like to recommend the best, which is why I'm proud to say that I chose Pella Windows and Doors for my own home. And now's a great time to upgrade your home with 0% financing for 60 months. That's 5 years of interest-free payments on the best windows and doors in the business. Don't wait. Schedule a free consultation at PellaJacks.com or visit their showroom on Phillips Highway just north of Bay Meadows. For quality you can trust and savings you can't miss, that's Pella Windows and Doors.
I'm Max Fink here with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. James Gladstone spoke to the media on Friday to talk a bit about the new pieces acquired in free agency. For some secondary help, the Jaguars signed former Cowboys cornerback Jordan Lewis. Gladstone talked about Jarian Jones and Jordan Lewis as being very versatile. With lots of chatter about Jarian Jones moving to the outside, Gladstone spoke on how both players will be moved around.
One of the things that we're valuing is versatility, and with both of those guys, we feel like they have the flexibility to play both inside and out. I think we'll see how that takes shape over the course of this offseason and in the beginning of next season. But between the two of them, both of them are players that we find value in, and just the versatility between the two of them just allows us a little bit more flexibility.
It's 69 degrees at 5:06. Time and Temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. 1010
Take.
The 1010 Take is sponsored by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck. That's duckduckrooter.com. I've kind of made it before. I'll make it again. You know I'm picking Florida to win the national title. Here's why. Florida has the best team in the nation. They could get derailed. Everybody could lose. One of the dangerous things and exciting things and mind and nerve-wracking things about the NCAA tournament is one and done. And I do concern myself with the fact that they're now the hunted, not the hunter. I do concern myself with the fact that the coach and some of the players, most of the players have not gone deep in this tournament. But they've got the best team in America. You win the tournament with guards, they've got really good guards. You win the tournament with physical guards, they've got very physical guards. You win the tournament with older guards, they've got very old guards. Yet you have to be big. You have to have guys in the middle that can run. They've got guys inside that can run. Here's the thing. The depth they've got, to the point, Hays, you've made all along, is that they can overcome any personnel issues, injuries, fouls, whatever, because they're so deep. Florida has 3 players on its team, and stay with me on this, 3 players on its team that do not start the game that would start for virtually any team in America. I'll say this again. 3 players that don't start the game for Florida. They're players 6, 7, 8 that would start for virtually any team in America. You will not find many teams where Denzel Aberdeen would not be one in the 3-guard era, which is what we're in. There's no more 6'9" small forwards hardly. It's mostly 3 guards. You'll never find a team, or I challenge you to find a team where Denzel Aberdeen would not be one of those starting guards. You won't find very many teams where 6'9" Thomas Houck, who shoots 83% from the free throw line, is dead-eye shooter from three-point range, runs the court, bouncy, and keeps everything alive on the offensive glass. You won't find many teams where he wouldn't be a starting forward. You just won't. And frankly, you won't find very many teams that would not start a 7'1", 250-pound rebounding, shot-blocking machine like Micah Handlockton at center. Handlockton started all last year and would have started this year if he hadn't been hurt. Denzel Aberdeen is 6'5", probably the most athletic player on the Florida team. 6'5", can shoot it, dunks it, is very athletic. Houck is extremely athletic. Aberdeen, Houck, and Handlockton, I am 100% convinced, would start for 95% of the teams in America. Florida has the best personnel, the best chemistry, the best team in America. We'll see if they win it. They're not experienced. That's a concern. But they have the best team in America. That's why I'm picking them to win it. And that is the 10-10 take.
Yeah, great stuff. And again, you look at scoring margin, they're plus 16.2. They're fourth in the country. They're 8-0 on neutral courts. They're the only contender, the only top 30 team in the net that is undefeated this season on a neutral court, which is, of course, where this tournament will be played. And yeah, not only would Houck, Aberdeen, and Handlockton be starters for 95% of Division I teams, they would be high-level starters on those teams. You're talking about one of the probably two best players in your starting lineup. It is remarkable that Todd Golden has built a team where I look forward to seeing who's going to the scorer's table.
Right.
Because and it's always fascinating to see how he manages their minutes, but there's no bad minutes. Even Florida, Billy's teams, even the great teams had some guys that occasionally had to go in, a Benel Colas, kind of player where you just sort of had to say, all right, just anything that this person gives us is an added bonus. I don't feel that way about anybody they put in there. I don't think Klavzar is probably going to see the floor a whole lot in the NCAA tournament. But I would suspect, having seen the limited amount of play that we've seen out of him with his skill set, I would imagine for most teams in the country, maybe he doesn't start, but he's probably your first guard off the bench. Well, here he's your second. And so it really is incredible, the depth that they have. And it's not just the depth, it's the versatility. It's how fast Condon and Houck are and how fast Chinlelu is down the court. It's how exquisite their coordination is. How he was able to find three big guys in Condon, Houck, and Chinlelu that have such soft hands.
Right.
Is incredible. And then obviously it comes back to you've got Will Richard, who's really taking control. I am worried about Will Richard having a game where he just elects not to shoot, but to his credit, he's been way more active lately. He was first team All-SEC tournament. And deservedly so. He got off to some fantastic starts. Will Richard, when he scores 5-6 points in the first 10 minutes of the game, Florida's in really good shape, because when he kind of gets involved early, it really opens up the offense. And Elijah Martin is a star player, and Walter Clayton Jr. is one of the best players to ever step foot on that campus.
So what happens? So what can go wrong? Because everybody's got something that can go wrong. I told you the one thing is, will they be as motivated when they're the hunted? And I think they will, because it's the NCAA tournament. The NCAA tournament motivates you. The other part of that is, how do they respond emotionally because something's going wrong? You have 6 games. You're not going to blow out 6 teams and never trail. It doesn't work like that. Every time they got a lead of late, Missouri made a run, Alabama made a run, Tennessee made a run, they fought it off. If the other team that makes a run actually passes them, if they're playing Texas Tech in the regional final, Texas Tech's good, and you look up and Florida's ahead 46-38 and 54-51, and all of a sudden you look up and there's 4:18 to play, and all of a sudden you look up and you're down 71-67, do they panic? Because that moment's happening. That's the moment that's happening. Now, the evidence says no, they won't. You can only follow the evidence, but the stakes are different here. How will they respond? And by the way, that also goes for the other 67 teams in this, is how do you respond? It's not just a Florida thing. It's how do you respond when the going gets tough? That will define them. History tells you, usually you have the close game. In 2000, Florida had the Butler game, where Mike Miller had to hit the runner, they lose. Probably got outplayed in that game. In 2006, they had the Georgetown game, when Jeff Green had a wide open look from the top of the key, a 3 that would have beaten them, and he missed it in the closing seconds. And then they went on to blow out Villanova, who was the number 1 seed. When they have that close game, they have not been in a lot of those. They have Yeah, Will Richard made the left-handed runner to beat South Carolina on the road, but they haven't had to do that very often. They haven't had to make the shot at the end of the game. One of the reasons they haven't had to is because Walter Clayton Jr. will make 2 or 3 with 5 minutes left, and all of a sudden, instead of having to make one at the end of the game, Florida's now up 11. Instead of tied, they're up 11 because he just made back-to-back threes. That's what winds up happening. And so, but I think that's the one question I would have.
Yeah, I would say in terms of specifics to this team that could derail them outside of the stuff that you're referring to that could affect any of the major teams. But the 2 areas that I think could get them in trouble are turnovers. They're 90th in the country in turnover margin. They're plus 1.4.
And they've been a little sloppy.
And they've been sloppy of late, particularly early in first halves.
Yeah, that's right.
They tend to their credit, they get into halftime, they tend to clean it up and play much more efficient. But turnovers have been an issue. If they have a game where they turn the ball over 16 or more times, they're going to be in trouble in this tournament. It doesn't mean they can't win it, but it will be hard to blow a team out if you're going to give up 16 possessions on turnovers. So that's something that I think if Florida does lose in this tournament, the first stat I would go to is how many times did they turn the ball over? Because my bet is it will be 16 or more. The other thing that I think is a concern, but they've done very well with this of late, is free throw shooting. They're 196 in the country in free throw shooting at 71.8%. Again, 196. So what does that mean? That means they're below average in Division I basketball. Now, they've been better. I go back to Tuscaloosa, Alabama senior night. Alabama does a good job staying at 6 team fouls for a lot of that second half. When they start fouling, it's a 1-and-1. It's Alex Condon, who knocks down both, followed by Thomas Houck, who knocks down both. And then I want to say they fouled a guard. It might have been Clayton. It was Clayton or Martin. They actually were the ones that missed.
Right.
But by that point, because Condon and Houck had gotten them 4 points at the line, the game was at the point of it would have taken a miracle for Alabama at that point. So they do have that experience to fall back on, that they've been able to seal a big game in a massive road environment against a very motivated opponent at the foul line. And they did a great job in the SEC final, going 25 of 28 at the foul line. When you're playing your third game in 3 days, and fatigue could certainly set in, that speaks a lot to their physical conditioning, but also their mental toughness, that they were able to step up and knock down 25 of 28 at the free throw line. So they've been good of late with it, but it's something you always worry about. Could that surface? Could they have a game where they're 9 of 19 from the free throw line? That could send them home.
So we will see what happens. We won't have to wait long to find out. They'll win easily against Norfolk State. I think we all expect that. But then the rest of the tournament, it is on. They're going to play the winner of Oklahoma and UConn right out of in the very second week. After that, it's probably either Memphis or Maryland. After that, it could be Texas Tech, Kansas, St. John's, Missouri. You get the drift. There's an awful lot of good teams. We'll see what winds up happening. But I can't wait to watch it. I'll tell you that. We'll be back with Hays' headlines after this.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show. From the Harold and Harold studio, don't settle for less than you deserve.
Living life on the edge of your seat.
Are you kidding me?
Your front row seat for play-by-play.
Break it free, they're not going to catch you.
1010XL.
Tired of supermarket produce that's traveled thousands of miles before you get it? Treat your family to farm fresh, Florida-grown fruits and veggies delivered right to your home with Doorbell Farms. No supply chain issues or questionable origins, just seasonal produce handpicked from local farmers. Subscribe monthly and enjoy the best local farm produce delivered right to you. Sign up now at doorbellfarms.com. Connecting real people to real family farms. Doorbellfarms.com.
This is Hays Carlyon for Harold and Harold. I was at lunch with my good friend Holt, and he was telling me that sometimes a lawyer can get more from a case than their own client. I was surprised to hear this, but Holt said that doesn't happen with Harold and Harold. They'll never take a fee that is greater than their own client. When they say they treat their clients as a person and not a file, they mean it. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, call Harold and Harold at 904-251-1111. That's 904-251-1111.
Frank Frangie here for South State Bank. South State has helped our businesses and charity grow and thrive. Whether you're expanding your operations, managing cash flow, or planning for the future, South State Bank offers forward-thinking, tailored solutions to meet your unique business needs. With expert guidance and best-in-class service, South State is here to help you move your business forward. Visit southstatebank.com or stop by your local branch today. Let South State become your partner in taking your business to the next level. That's South State Bank, member FDIC.
Mia here. Getting more is great, and that's what makes this sale so great. It's a sale on top of a sale, and it's going on now at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. Get $0 down and just $288 per month for a pre-owned 2022 Toyota Corolla. Or you choose a pre-owned 2021 Camry, RAV4, Tacoma for $0 down and $388 per month. You can even choose no payments till July 2025. Shop in person on Atlantic Boulevard, just a quarter mile east of 295, or online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com.
Guys, want a golf course fairway quality lawn? TopDressing.com just landed in Jacksonville with the golf course secret for St. Augustine grass homeowners. A patented process that aerates and turns your turf into a fairway stunner. Serious golf course technology, but in your yard. Less water, tighter cuts, total neighborhood domination. No one else scores a perfect 10 lawn. Hit TopDressing.com now. You will own the block. Top dress your yard like the pros with TopDressing.com.
1010XL celebrates high scorers.
1010XL and Southeast Orthopedic Specialists celebrate scholar athletes.
In class and on the court.
Brought to you by the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234. Wednesdays on the Frangie Show.
Are you thinking about a pool for your home? Blue Haven Pools is Jacksonville's largest pool builder. They've built pools for over 20,000 satisfied families since 2000. It's never been easier to design the perfect pool for your home, family, and budget. Call Blue Haven Pools today at 904-620-0090 to get a free in-home estimate for your in-ground pool, or visit bluehaven.com. Don't let another summer pass by without a pool. Join thousands of happy Jacksonville pool owners in a Blue Haven pool.
Cool Cats Heating and Cooling, the coolest cats in town, setting the standard in our hometown. Quality service, the best around. Coolidge is the cat that cares about your heating and about your air. Cool Cats Heating and Cooling, the coolest cats in town.
Brian Wall here. Would you take your paycheck, go to the bank, cash it, and then simply throw it up in the air? I didn't think so. But in a way, over the years, that is exactly what you're doing if you have old or builder-grade windows in your home. Even if you have a brand new home, those windows are not the best windows you can have to save on your energy bills. Window World has sold millions of replacement windows to homeowners like you, and Window World's customer satisfaction is the highest in the business. Please check Window World out yourself and save on your new windows and on your energy bills. Compare with other companies and you'll see Window World is simply the best for less. It's up to you. You can call Window World and get a free estimate, get the best guarantee in the window replacement business, save money on your new windows, and save more on your energy bills. Call Window World today at 904-443-7001 or go online to windowworldneflorida.com. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
Navy Mutual would like to salute all Medal of Honor recipients that have been given our nation's highest award. In 1990, Congress designated March 25th as National Medal of Honor Day, and it was signed into law by President George H.W. Bush.
Committed to the mission. At Navy Mutual, we're committed to providing high-quality life insurance to members of the military and their families. Because at Navy Mutual, our highest commitment is to you. Visit NavyMutual.org.
Yo, this is Tony from Tony D's. Are you looking for a great slice of pizza? Well, we have about 12 varieties. Most places won't have slices of pizza after lunch. At Tony D's, you can get a slice all day. It's always fresh at Tony D's Pizza. Bay Meadows and 295.
With 50 years of fabrication expertise in towing products, the family at Cannons of Jacksonville can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Gather round.
It's Hays' Headlines, presented by Harrell and Harrell. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Hear all about it. Here's Hays Carlyon.
All right, welcome back to the Frangie Show. Frank Frangie, JJ LaSelva, I'm Hays Carlyon. Thank you to our friends at Harrell and Harrell. Give them a call at 251-1111. Frank, we're going to start in the world of college basketball.
Good world.
Florida superstar Walter Clayton Jr. named a first-team All-American by the Associated Press. Clayton was named a first-team selection by the Sporting News last week. He is the first UF player to earn first-team honors. Clayton is averaging 17.5 points per game for the Gators. Duke's Cooper Flagg, Auburn's Janai Broom, Alabama's Mark Sears, and Purdue's Braden Smith round out the first team.
I would think that's a pretty good first team. I think Walter Clayton Jr. deserves it. Hazy's one of the best 3 or 4 players they've ever had. That's reality. He's one of the best players in the history of the program, and there's no denying it. There's no denying it. Not only does he have the numbers, but he hits the big shots. He is unflappable. He's always poised. He looks a little casual at times, but that's just his demeanor. He's one of the best players in the history of the program, and thank goodness they got him, and Rick Pitino and St. John's didn't. What would St. John's be now if they had everything they got in Walter Clayton?
Because they're elite defensively.
Yeah.
Their issue is scoring. So, I mean, when you think about Walter Clayton being at St. John's with Pitino, wow, they would have been fantastic.
How many players?
Not as fantastic as it's been at Florida, but very close.
I mean, Lee Humphrey was this guy. Michael Frazier was this guy. But how many guys have they had when they pull up for 3, you're convinced they're making it? They had a guy named Joe Lawrence back in the 80s. You probably don't remember. But how many guys have they had that when they pull up for 3, you're convinced it's going in?
To me, it's Clayton and Humphrey are the 2 for me.
Yeah.
I mean, when it left Lee Humphrey's hand,
you thought it went in.
I was shocked when it wasn't a 3-pointer. And same with Walt. I mean, obviously he takes more than Humphrey, so you know when he's like, he'll do his heat check, where if he's made a couple, he may come down and throw another one up from, basically the logo.
Right.
And when he does that, you're not really expecting it to go. But I mean, to your point, when Florida has to have it, and Clayton lets it go, I fully expect it's nothing but net.
He's a fantastic one. I'm telling you, one of the best players in the history of the program.
Without a doubt. Florida released a cool 10-minute video documenting the early part of this season earlier today on their social media. So, Gators fans, it's fantastic if you want to go check it out. It starts with the off-season workout, so it's interesting kind of seeing the conditioning drills that Todd Golden had them doing. And then it goes all the way up to the win over Tennessee in Gainesville when the Vols were number 1. It shows a little bit of the Kentucky loss at Rupp, but it's really good. They've got Walter Clayton, Elijah Martin, Todd Golden, Alex Condon in this 10-minute video, all kind of talking about Chinlelu talking about it as well. So I would highly recommend it if you're a fan of this team. The second video comes out tonight. So pretty cool that Florida's got all this. We love what the Jaguars do with the hunt. This is something very similar with the Florida men's basketball team.
Yeah, nobody's as good as those Jaguar guys are, but the Florida guys are good at it. 2 thoughts. Number 1, the best part of it for me that I didn't realize, the off-season workouts are grueling. They're dragging sleds and running and change. I thought that. I didn't realize that. The other thing is, it's called Gator Boys. My question is, did Joakim Noah and Al Horford and Corey Brewer and Torian Green sign off on that?
They did,
because they're the ones that was their name.
Oh yeah,
they referred to themselves as them Gator Boys. And I wondered if they allowed this group to have that name.
I think they did. I think it was funny seeing Horford. This was a week or so ago. One of his teammates passed him and he was doing media and he said, "Hey, did you see Florida one?" So, I mean, it's been cool seeing the former players really adopt this team.
But do you remember that when they used to...
the Gator Boys are hot right now.
Them Gator Boys are hot right now. They would always say that.
Yeah, and it's been something this team has embraced. Condon said it to Molly McGrath after one of the wins here recently. So, seems like there's a good synergy between the back-to-back title teams and in this version of the Florida Gators. Let's continue with college basketball because the NCAA tournament officially starts tonight in Dayton. The first game is a game between 2 16 seeds, but in the nightcap, North Carolina is playing in the second game, taking on fellow 11 seed San Diego State at 9:10 is the estimated tip-off time there. So the Tar Heels, who obviously know there's much of the country that believe they didn't belong, they'll have a chance to start proving their doubters wrong starting tonight.
Well, that's what I think. It should be the easiest motivational job in Hubert Davis's career. Listen, everybody thinks you don't belong. Everybody is mocking the fact that we're in. I'll say this about North Carolina. The worst thing that happened to them, Hays, was now we know these two big words, the net and quad one wins. 8 years ago, if you saw North Carolina was 21-13 and 13-7 in their league, you wouldn't think twice about them being in. Nobody would have criticized it. But because that big number, 1-12 in quad one games, that's the number that 5 years ago you wouldn't have known that number because it didn't exist. They'd have just been 21-13 and 13-7 in the league. So they got hurt by too much knowledge and too much conversation about the metrics. But it's an easy. I'm telling you, if I'm Hubert Day, and by the way, I'm not as appalled as everybody else is. Now, West Virginia probably should have been in at somebody else's expense. I get that. But if it's the best 68 teams, and I know it's not, it's the 31 automatic qualifiers in the next 37 or whatever. But I'm not as bothered that North Carolina's in as everybody else is.
Let's get to the NFL. Eagles' great defensive lineman Brandon Graham announced his retirement today after a 15-year career all in Philadelphia. Fantastic player for the Eagles, going out on top with a second Super Bowl.
Terrific player, 2 rings, and what a great end to the career. I think this Eagles team, by the way, because of how physical they are, a lot of Super Bowl teams, we don't remember them other than that they won. A lot of Super Bowl winners. I don't know what their identity is. The Rams had the passing game with Kurt Warner and all those guys. The Bucs had the defense. The Ravens have the defense. The Cowboys and Steelers and all those teams want to have the fact that they win a bunch. The Patriots won a bunch of them. I think we're going to remember this Eagles team because of how tough they are and how badly they physically whipped the Chiefs.
Yeah, I agree. That massacre in the Super Bowl, it was so shocking. I don't think any NFL fan will ever forget that. The Vikings have made a bold move. They have signed former Jaguar receiver Tim Jones. Jones was a Jaguar, I think, from the team's inception. At least that's how it feels. But Tim Jones now moving on to Minnesota.
You thought he's the guy that might have rushed Morton Anderson on that
kick?
Yeah,
I thought he would.
Morton Anderson saw him coming around the corner?
Absolutely.
Tim Jones was a fantastic special teams player. I'm not sure he's a particularly good wide receiver. My guess is Minnesota brought him out there to be a gunner, and he'll be a very good one.
Let's get it to the NFL draft. ESPN's Mel Kiper Jr.'s latest mock is out. He has Cam Ward going 1 to the Titans, Cleveland taking Abdul Carter, followed by the Giants taking Shedeur Sanders. So a perfect start for the Jaguars if this plays out with 2 quarterbacks already off the board. At number 4, Kiper has New England taking Travis Hunter. So that leaves at 5 the Jaguars selecting Mason Graham.
Who do you take at 5 of that? Is it Mason Graham?
I would take Mason Graham.
Yeah, I will say I would not be surprised if Cam Ward jumps up that high. I'd be moderately surprised if Shedeur Sanders does. But listen, the desperate search for quarterback, just desperate search for quarterbacks means it just might happen. And so, yeah, I'd love to. If that happens, by the way, if both quarterbacks go in the top 5, then Mason Graham's going to be there because Carter and Hunter are going.
You would think.
Yeah. And by the way, if not, then Hunter's there.
Right.
If both, let me rephrase that. If both quarterbacks go in the top 5, Carter, Hunter, and Graham, one of them's got to be there.
Absolutely.
That's the point.
Yep. And look, I think kind of what we've been saying. By the time Aaron Rodgers, let's say he picks the Vikings. And so the Steelers will regroup and probably go sign a veteran. There's no one for the Giants. I mean, you can't in that market. You're not going to start Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
So you have to take Shedeur Sanders at 3.
Right.
I mean, there's just no other choice.
Yeah.
You have to have any credibility.
Right.
You have to roll the dice and hope he's fantastic.
That is interesting to see between Russell Wilson and Joe Flacco and Jameis Winston and how that whole thing plays out to whichever teams don't wind up getting Aaron Rodgers.
Without a doubt. Let's get it to college football. Deion Sanders wants to do joint practices and then a competitive spring game with an opponent. Syracuse's Fran Brown has already stepped up to offer his team, but I think what Deion Sanders is suggesting is something that we've been talking about for a long time. and would love to see.
I would love to see it. My question is, will the NCAA allow it? Here's what I've noticed. Once Deion said that, I kept waiting for some Pete Thamel or somebody to write, Russ Dellinger to write the story of how that's not allowed because of NCAA byline 34.AAQ, and I haven't seen it yet. So if there's a rule precluding it, the national writers haven't found it yet, which is interesting.
It is. Yeah, I think it would be awesome if that became the new norm. Florida State's Mike Norvell is closing spring practice to the media as the Noles attempt to recover from a 2-10 season. Frank, what does that tell you about the state of affairs with the Noles?
Yeah, listen, he's on the hottest of hot seats. And the one thing I think, this isn't about gathering everybody together for culture. This is about not showing your hand. I think, look, Mike Norvell's probably down to his last year if they don't win 8 or 9 games. And he knows that, which is why he went out and got essentially a whole new team, starting with a whole new quarterback. And the reality is they've got to be good or he's not going to have the job. So if you can, the more stuff in his mind, the more stuff you keep off social media, out of the typical traditional media, the less people will know about what you're trying to do. And I think that's why he's doing it.
Bill Belichick is getting hot on the recruiting trail. Belichick flips 4-star defensive tackle Treshaun Ruffin from Texas A&M.
How about that? I'd love to have a camera in one of those in-home visits. When he walks in there with the hoodie and goes, look, you coming or not?
Right.
I ain't got time for this crap.
Right. You know who I am,
yeah, right? You coming or not?
Yeah, absolutely. Ruffin is from North Carolina, so a bit of a home win there for Bill Belichick. But interesting that we're starting to see the Belichick Tar Heels start to get some blue chip players in there, at least verbal commitments. They obviously can't sign until December. Let's get it to golf. We know Rory McIlroy made $4.5 million for winning the Players' Championship. So what did last place receive? Well, I looked it up. Xander Schauffele finished 72nd. Last among players to make the cut. Xander Schauffele took home $50,250.
You know, I knew that number.
Oh, did you?
I didn't know who it was, but I looked up the purse over the weekend and saw that $50,250 is the last place finisher. And by the way, what did Spawn make? 1.7?
No, I think he made like 2.75.
Is it 2.7? Is that what it was?
Yeah,
okay,
a lot of money.
He did all right.
He did very well.
I know he was disappointed.
Yeah.
But there's 2.7 going in the checking account.
In fact, when he was in the post-game press conference and he said, show me the shot that he hit long on 17, he then said, okay, now that we've seen that, pull up my portfolio. The direct deposit hit yet. Right. Let's get to Major League Baseball. The season is underway as the Cubs and Dodgers open play in Tokyo. The Dodgers get the win, 4-1.
Yeah, I couldn't get excited about it. I wanted. JJ, did you get excited? I tried to.
I started watching like the 5th inning. It's hard to get excited for a game this early, but I was, for those few innings, I was locked in, and it was cool to see like the Japanese players over there. Like Ohtani's such a freaking superstar, man.
Yeah.
So it was cool to see him get a couple hits in the Tokyo Dome.
30,000 people came out to watch him practice.
Wow.
Not the game.
Wow.
Yeah, like 25,000 people came out to watch the day before to watch him take BP. Think about that.
And both starting pitchers today were Japanese players. So it was pretty cool.
Does it bother you guys that they start the season not in America?
No, they've been doing it for so long now. I don't really care.
I just wish it would. It didn't. For me, it didn't take.
Right.
You know, it didn't take. The one year, the World Baseball Classic really took for me the one year, but this seven has never took.
Yeah. Interesting. Let's get to college baseball. We didn't get to this yesterday. The Gators were swept by Tennessee over the weekend. They face JU tonight, Frank. So give us a report on worry level, if any, for Florida, and can JU take them down tonight?
JU can. I don't think they will. Florida's going to be fine. Florida's got a good team. They were 13-2 when they went to Knoxville. They've already beaten FSU once, who's really good. Look, they ran into a buzzsaw. Tennessee's better. They ran into a team that's better than them, and when you play a team that's better than you on the road, it's a buzzsaw. The biggest concern for Florida is that Pierce Capola, the left-handed pitcher, is so good, is hurt again. He's been hurt so much. The exciting news is Aiden King, who's from right here at Bishop Snyder High School in Jacksonville. He's going to be one of those great Gator. He's already their Saturday starter now with Capola out, and he looked really good at Tennessee. A Jacksonville kid that people didn't know a lot about. Throws hard, is tough, is nasty. So he's really good. I think they'll beat JU tonight. JU's pretty good, though. JU won. We didn't get to talk about the Rumble because we were at the golf. JU won 2 out of 3 from UNF. JU and UNF both have nice teams. But JU will play them hard. I don't think they can beat them tonight.
I realize none of the three of us are big NBA fans, so indulge me here. And if you don't have a comment, we'll simply move on. But I thought this was interesting. So in the NBA right now, Cleveland leads the Eastern Conference by 7.5 games with a record of 56-11. In the Western Conference, it's an even bigger laugher as Oklahoma City is 56-12 with a 12.5 game lead in having the 1 seed.
Yeah, and I don't follow it. I guess the Gilgeous Alexander has become such a great player that Donovan Mitchell and Gilgeous Alexander are the two great players. And I don't follow it close enough to have even known that other than seeing that. But
he's going to win the MVP.
Yeah, he'll be the MVP. But you know what it does? It shows you, and I don't follow it at all, but I'm serious about this, how quickly it flips. 2 years ago, Phoenix looked unbeatable. You know, with Jokic going off the way he did, Denver looked unbeatable. You know, so I mean, with Giannis playing the way he did, the Bucks looked unbeatable, right? And all of a sudden, those teams are middle of the pack teams now. I mean, Denver with Jokic. Denver with Jokic. Phoenix with Booker and all those guys. Milwaukee with Giannis. Didn't they look like unbeatable for once upon a time?
Absolutely.
And now they're middle of the pack teams. It's pretty amazing.
Phoenix sucks.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then Phoenix is terrible, by the way.
I still would be shocked, honestly, if OKC wins the title, or if if either one of those teams. I consider myself an NBA guy. I don't watch too much of the Cavs games, but they're just like a regular season team. We've seen so many of those over the years. Like that, the Hawks had like 50+ wins one year. I just think once we get down to the playoffs, I still like Boston. You know, I still like Jokic. We'll see what happens, but I would be shocked if either one of those teams actually ended up winning the whole thing.
Good stuff. Let's get into pop culture. The trailer is out for Happy Gilmore 2. It popped this morning. It's about 90 seconds of pure glory. Julie Bowen in the trailer.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
I'm good now.
Yep. The movie debuts on Netflix on July 25th, but a lot of cool cameos. John Daly, they showed Rory McIlroy. Obviously, Shooter McGavin is back in it. So Ben Stiller was in the trailer. So it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully they did it justice, but it should be a lot of fun on July 25th.
I'm sad we don't have Carl Weathers.
Yes.
But I can't. I'm like you. I have not seen the trailer. I'm going to watch it tonight, but I can't wait to watch it.
At least, you know, his character died in the first Happy Gilmore.
Right.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
But it would have been interesting to see how they might have incorporated
20-year-old spoiler.
Nothing better. I think Happy Gilmore came out in like 95. So
wow.
If you haven't seen it, go ahead and do that before the sequel comes out. Let's get you out on a musical note of the day because we want to wish happy birthday wishes to Jerry Cantrell, who turns 59 today, the founder and lead guitarist of Alice in Chains. Cantrell is one of the best musicians to come out of the 90s grunge era. Alice in Chains has sold over 30 million albums worldwide. This is Wood.
All right, and we are going to take a quick break. Right around the corner, Rick Ballou waits. This is 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell & Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
This is Brent Musburger's Visa in Action update on 1010XL. Brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
NASCAR heading to Miami Homestead on Sunday for the Straight Talk Wireless 400. Kyle Larson is the betting favorite to take the checkered flag. They'll go 267 laps around the mile-and-a-half oval. Miami had been removed from the playoff schedule in the fall for a spring race. Tyler Reddick won the race last October. He is plus 550 to win the race on Sunday. Ryan Blaney is at plus 450. William Byron plus 700. Christopher Bell has won 2 races already this year, plus 1,000. Denny Hamlin is is at plus 1,200. Hendrick Motorsports is the betting favorite to be the winning team at plus 140. Earn cash back on your gaming transactions with the G-Bank Signature Visa Card at vsin.com/GBank. I'm Tony Desiri with your Visa in Action update on 1010 XL.
Florida heat is no joke. Is your air conditioner ready for it? At Duck Duck Air Conditioning, we've got a crazy offer just for you. We're giving away free AC inspections to our wonderful customers who now call and schedule. One of our expert techs will come look at your AC unit and make recommendations to ensure it's running at peak performance. But you must act today. A deal this good won't last forever. Call 904-862-6769. Duck Duck Air Conditioning. DuckDuckAC.com. Any required repairs are not included in the inspection.
Lots of jewelry stores in the town center, but only one is locally owned, Beard's Diamonds.
We're the only local jewelry store at the town center.
That's Jacksonville's John Lupo, owner of Beard's for over 4 decades.
We're entrenched in Jacksonville, Florida.
In a sea of mega chain jewelers, John says it's easy to stand out because he's not handcuffed by a corporate handbook.
I am not beholden to a corporate structure, so we've got flexibility to do whatever we can and want, and we do.
And that includes lowering prices to undercut them every day.
Quality for quality, color for color, everything the same. We should be able to beat them hands down by minimum 20%. We go overseas ourselves. We know exactly what we're buying. This isn't getting marked up in a corporate structure. We will beat anybody's price anywhere.
So before you buy anything at one of those chains, get a second opinion at locally owned Beard's Diamonds. No corporate atmosphere, no corporate rules, no corporate high markups.
We want you to come shop us and you'll see a lot better price here.
Beard's Diamonds.
Everybody gets a good deal at Beard's.
It's truck season again at Nimnik Chevrolet. This month, you can save up to $12,000 off a new Silverado or get financing rates as low as 2.9%. Now, unlike most dealerships, Nimnik Chevrolet has the largest inventory on the ground, ready for you to explore. And with their extensive selection, you're sure to find your perfect truck at Nimnik. Now available now, the all-new Silverado EV. Designed to go the distance, the Silverado EV boasts 440 miles of range, more standard range than any competitor. Ask about low-rate financing and $7,500 instant cash savings on EVs. And remember, Nimnik will always give you top dollar for your trade, and for a limited time, up to an additional $3,000 in trade assistance. Who's got the best Silverados? Nobody but Nimnik. Head to Nimnik today. Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
You know, Mr. Chubby's Wings is giving away free beer again this year for the Madness Tournament.
Do they really give you a free pint of Miller Lite for each game you pick right?
Yes, all you got to do is fill out your bracket now at 1010XL.com. The overall winner gets tickets to Welcome to Rockville on Saturday. But for free beer, just download your bracket, print it out, and bring it into any Mr. Chubby's Wings location during the games. Every game you pick right, you get a free beer.
Go to 1010XL.com now. It's the free beer Chubby Madness Bracket Challenge. See Mr. Chubby's Wings Facebook for full contest details.
Cannonball! Honey, someone's in our pool.
Oh, refreshing.
John, what are you doing?
Oh, hey, Dave. Seeing as how me and the guys at Clearwater Irrigation reinstalled your sprinklers after the pool contractor ripped it out, I thought you wouldn't mind if I took a quick dip.
But in a Jaguar print Speedo?
Yeah, Dave. My bad.
Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers.
And drainage, too.
Pick it here for About 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of Bow 9. Visit Bow 9 Associates today and experience the difference. Bow 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
AA Automotive helps keep your vehicle in dependable and safe condition. Call Sam, Harry, or Joe, and they'll check your brakes, tires, fluids, electric, and motor, so your ride runs smooth on the road. That's AA Automotive on Richard Street.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm that has experience and capabilities to handle any legal issue a business is confronted with. Learn more about what they can do for you at jimersonfirm.com.
E.T. here.
And if you've ever been injured in an accident, you have 14 days to see a doctor and protect your insurance benefits. You have the right to choose your own doctor, too. And I recommend McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation, the auto accident experts.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here. In the past 10 years, the weight loss industry has seen it all. New medications, fad diets, sculpting, and still, Awaken 180 continues to stand alone as the proven solution for weight loss online at awaken180weightloss.com.
North Florida is growing with lots of new families joining our community. If you're one of them making the move here, your next move should be a call to American Electrical to create the best home automation system, enhancing your living experience. There are many ways your life can be made easier through smart home technology, voice-activated systems, automated lighting, total house temperature control. With American Electrical, they've got everything you need to automate your home and make it your true oasis. Check out American-Electrical.com. Powered by professionalism and raising the excellence bar.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
All right, where have we been in the course of the program today? We certainly talked some college hoops. That Gator basketball team, what could keep them out of a deep run? Not a whole lot. They're a very complete team. We certainly talked about that. We'll continue to over the course of the week as we get set for March Madness. That's right around the corner. Also, we talked a great deal today about football. We started with the Jaguars, and what would the expectations be now knowing what the team they have? We'll certainly talk about that today. More weeks as we go on. And we talked about college football. Mike Norvell has shut down practice, or shut down media access to practice. The Gators are dealing with the arm injury to DJ Lagway. What does that mean? So we've covered a little football, a little hoop as well. We even talked about Aaron Rodgers, because that's the law. You got to talk about Aaron Rodgers these days until he makes a decision. That is the cool down. That is where we've been. Let's say hello to Rick Ballou.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. CoolCatsJacks.com.
The coolest cats in town.
Hey, I know you're a big fan of Mike Norvell. Closed practice to the media. You were in favor of that, I can see on X, yeah?
Well, he had it open when they won 19 in a row.
Right.
And now they go 2-10, and he's got it closed. So I keep reading how he's so media-friendly and such a joy. I thought he was a real jackass when I asked him 2 years ago why Jared Verse didn't practice, and he was the first coach ever after a practice or a game that went bombastic and refused to answer the question. So,
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Is that the one to practice here?
Oh, in Jacksonville. Jared Verse was on the side. He was picking daisies.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why didn't Jared Verse practice today? And he went absolutely nuts. And we've all been doing this for a long time. Have you ever known a coach who hasn't answered a question about why a guy did not practice? Apparently, it was one of his internal rules. So reeks of desperate.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to ask why a player didn't practice? That's a
Frangie,
rule?
I got scolded. I got scolded by Mike Norvell. Okay? Good thing he stopped me, because I was about ready to ask him why he didn't play prevent defense against Jacksonville State. But, yeah, I've never been so surprised.
I'll be darned.
By a complete lack of professionalism.
I did not know
by a guy making all that money that he would not answer a question as to why Jared Verse, who we all knew was going to be a first-round draft pick, was not practicing.
I'll be darned. Did you know that story?
Yeah.
I did. Same on me. I didn't know. It would have been. You're right. It would have been hard to say, Rick, we just told him out for precautionary reasons. Next question. That would have been hard.
Oh, no. Instead, he made a big deal about it. If they don't come back here, it's because of me. Actually, he did come back this past season.
2 years ago.
All right. But it reeks of desperation.
Yeah.
And he's feeling it over there right now. This is going to be year 6, year 5 or year 6. I think this is going to be year 6. And honestly, there's not a Florida State fan alive who knows if he can coach.
It is year 6. The 2 bad years and the 2 good years. Then last year, it is.
Think about this. How many programs, college or pro, do you start the 6th year and you don't know if he can coach?
Yeah.
That's what's going on with Mike Norvell in God's country.
Florida's there too, but it's only the 4th year. Florida's got a similar question, but it's only the 4th year. What's coming up tonight?
Not that.
Okay.
We've got his replacement.
Okay.
Deion Sanders, who's moving the needle a little bit in the world of college football.
I love
Prime
Deion.
time has spoken. And when he does, guys like me listen. So we got that to get into, plus a draft analyst will be joining us at 6:22. Fired up for tonight's program.
Hey, real quick, before you go, seriously. If Mike Norvell gets fired this year, would they? I'm not joking. Would they hire Dion? Would he be the guy?
Everyone over there says no, they don't like him, but it's a Mickey Mouse organization that changes front office the way that the Kardashian will change a boyfriend. So that will change as well. If they drop another awful season, which I kind of see. I mean, honestly, if you look at Florida State, you can be 6 months out. You know they're losing their opener to Alabama,
Right.
and you know they're losing their season finale against Florida.
I agree.
Where are you going to find
At Clemson
8 or 9 wins in there?
Yeah, and they're
it's
gonna lose-
it's not going to happen.
And they're going to lose at Clemson.
The vultures are going to come out again.
Interesting.
For Florida State.
All right, thank you, Rick. I'll be really interested. Rick knows
Yeah.
way better than we do, but I wonder, will they hire Deion Sanders?
They should.
I mean, it's going to be a storyline, a real storyline. Folks, that'll do it for our program. No corner. Rick got more of that coming up in just a bit. We're out of here. For Hays and JJ, I'm Frank Frangie. So long.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell Studio.